but I'm going to bring Jesus through and get him to do his normal introduction. So I will see you in a few minutes. These are challenging times on your planet. I am that one that you know as Jesus, but we will say it has always been challenging times on your planet because it is a place of separation and because you are not taught the correct teachings when you are born. Now, as we have said many, many times, there is a dark net of untruth that has been woven around your particular time and place. This timeline on your planet has had an experience of darkness in preparation for an experience of lightness. Now, remember, this is a plane of duality. When you are in unity consciousness, you will not be in a body on the earth plane experiencing yourself as a separate being as you all are now. This particular experience that you are having is one of duality. And once you have mastered how to step above duality, you will not need to be on this earth plane in a physical body anymore. That's what happened to me. You all are going to have that experience, and it is going to be a beautiful one. It is going to be a beautiful one because duality is a battle. Duality is fear versus love, love versus fear. So it is confusing and it is tiring for you. So this is the subject that we'd like to address right now, is stress and tiredness, overwhelmment, disillusionment. When you are in accord with truth, you will be in what you call the flow. You will find things happening very, very easily. You will find that decisions don't have to be made even. You will find that opportunities come your way right when you needed them to come your way. You will be thinking about a subject, oh, I really need to get a new car. And then you will be offered a new car somehow. There'll be a bonus. There'll be a person you know who has decided to leave where the town or the country where you live and they want to get rid of their car. You will think, oh, wow, what an interesting synchronicity. Well, synchronicity is your sign that you are in attunement, that you are going with the flow of your destiny, if you will. Synchronicity is a demonstration of a miracle, because when you look at a synchronicity, you say, what are the odds of winning a ticket to New Zealand when I was just feeling that I wanted to go there? Well, the feeling that you wanted to go there is coming from an inner knowing of what your path is about to take you to. So these feelings of predestination, synchronicity, coincidence is what the pragmatist will call it. These are all demonstrations of your surrender to the path of least resistance, which is the path of love. So the more difficult the life is that you are living, the less in accord you are with your predestined path. Now, many of you get very confused about destiny and free will. Well, there is the will of the ego, the will of the separated mind, the will of the conditioned mind. These are very, very different things. The higher will of the connected, tuned in, tapped in mind are very, very different. You will feel it as an inexorable pull, just like being in a river that's taking you downstream. You could say, well, when I jump in a river, I'm being overwhelmed by the river's current and I do not get to choose. Well, when you came into separation, you chose to jump in the river. And the more conflict there is in your mind, the more stress you're feeling in your body, the tireder you're feeling, the more overwhelmed you're feeling. This is an indicator that you are swimming upstream, that you are not going with the flow of the river. The river will take you exactly where you need to go. It will take you, yes, on a meandering journey through many, many different landscapes. But if you stay in the center of the river by practicing forgiveness, which is at times inaction, non-judgment, just not attacking somebody or something, saying, I don't know what this is for. Let me just keep looking at it. And we would suggest you do that with the world at this time, because the messages that you're getting from your mass media systems are not what's happening on this world at all. They are feeding you a line, pulling the wool over your eyes, however you wish to say it. And you are now getting glimpses of the revelation, the revealing of some other things happening beneath the surface. So you have had the saber rattling of North Korea with North America and South Korea, and this seeming impending attack that was going on a few months ago. And now all of a sudden you are getting a peace accord. This is bewildering for many of you that have been following the news, because you are not getting the behind the scenes information. There is a revolution afoot on your planet to unknit the web of darkness. And it has been going on for quite some time, and it is picking up momentum. And all of you in this group who are doing your Course in Miracles forgiveness work, who are becoming aware of your conditioned minds, who are stepping back from judgment whenever you can manage it, you are part of that revolution. You are part of the love that is dissolving the darkness, because you are in alignment with the river. And the river is picking up speed. The river is picking up volume, because you as a society, you as a group mind are seeing the real fruits of the thought system that you have been trained into. You are seeing the real fruits of it, and you don't want them anymore. The pollution in your oceans, the degradation of your atmosphere, the loss of trees, the sicknesses that are seemingly increasing, autism, autoimmune diseases, these are becoming epidemic, digestive disorders. You are, even the most materialistic of you on this planet, are beginning to see that you cannot continue along the path that you're on. It will take you over a precipice. Now, in the grand scheme of things, you are all eternal beings. You will be reincarnated onto this planet or another planet in another form or in human form. There are many, many different potential futures for you. But what we want you to know is that if you do not deal with your mind in this incarnation, you will just get to deal with it in another one. So why not deal with it in this one? And your stress, your tiredness, your disillusionment, your arguing, these are all demonstrations that you are swimming upstream. So what we want to throw down as a gauntlet here, a challenge for those of you that are serious about your consciousness evolution, we want you to watch the next fight that comes your way, whether it's a battle over who does the dishes, who pays for something, who drives, who doesn't drive, who organizes, who does whatever in your life. Watch the next thing that you want to fight about, and don't fight about it. If the dishes need to be done, do them, and watch your mind while you're doing them. Watch your thoughts about being unfairly treated, being put upon, being attacked, whatever it is. Now, we always say here, if you're in a life-threatening situation, don't do this experiment. Remove yourself from a life-threatening situation of abuse or control or manipulation, and deal with your mind once you're in a safe environment. We are speaking here about the ordinary ups and downs of the ordinary human life, not life-threatening abusive situations. So if you, let us say you are arguing with your spouse about who does housework and how often, if you are the one saying no and the person who seems to be in the room with you says it's your turn, and you feel a justification coming up, but I've been at work all day, or my foot hurts, or there's something good on television, do a little experiment for the benefit of yourself. See that you have resistance to doing this thing. See that you have a strong ego argument for not doing this thing, and do that thing. And go into that thing, whatever it is, and observe your mind. Observe the upset. Observe the attack. Observe the judgment. Whatever it is that your mind does, just watch it as an education program. Because every time you get into a battle with someone, you are in the ego's playground. Now, those of you that are trained in this paradigm that you live in, which is all of you, although a lot of you are getting retrained, and for that we are incredibly grateful, because the world will change when you change your mind. For those of you that are deeply ingrained in battles within a domestic situation or within a work situation, watch how much relief you get from surrendering just in that moment. Now, the ego will say, but we can't do this all the time. They'll override us. They'll overrule us. What we're trying to get you to see is the relief you get from not fighting. That doesn't mean that you're not going to make choices every day that are in alignment with the future you wish to create. But what we want you to see is what's making you tired. What's making you disillusioned? What's making you wish you were somewhere else? And often it is your own battle with the energy of other, the seeming separation. So if you're in that battle of separation, you're strengthening separation. Now, if you surrender to the situation that you want to fight against, we want you to say that relief that you feel when you surrender takes you up in frequency. So in that moment of surrender, even though the ego will say the other person won, you in fact will win, because you will go up in frequency. And the more you can do this in your immediate experience, even though you don't necessarily agree 100% with the division of labor or the situation, what you're going for is an increase in frequency. And this is the practice of forgiveness in that circumstance. This is a redefinition of forgiveness for many of you. You don't think of it this way. When you're in a battle, you're wrong, I'm right, I did the dishes last time, you don't think of backing off from that conflict as forgiveness. But it is, because what you're saying is, somehow, some way, my mind has created this scenario. I've perpetuated it by being in constant argument with this person, place, thing, or experience. Let me change my strategy. Let me now practice acceptance of what is, knowing that the what is now has been created from my frequency in the past, and I don't want this anymore. How can I shift my frequency? I must rise above the battleground through the practice of acceptance, surrender, non-judgment, forgiveness, whatever you wish to call it. And in that moment, I am giving myself a new future, because I'm raising my frequency up above the battleground. This is a very, very profound principle of A Course in Miracles teachings. If you're stressed, if you're tired, if you're weary, you are in the battleground, and you are participating in the battleground as an attacker or as a victim. And you may indeed be participating in the battleground as both of those things. You may be attacking yourself and attacking other people. You may be attacking other people and victimizing yourself in another way. It is only in the moment of acceptance and peacefully, curiously looking at your mind as you make the ego surrender, because you must remember the ego is you, and everything that you have been taught and believe in, that is separation or separation focused or unloving. It is not a separate entity than you, although if you side with the ego's battleground frequently, you tune into the frequency of battle. The ego's frequency is a frequency, just like Christ consciousness is a frequency. And if you choose love, 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 forgiveness, forgiveness, acceptance, you will get yourself up the frequency ladder to Christ consciousness in the end. And you will, as you practice these principles, using the Course in Miracles lessons as your guide, because you do need a guide on the beginning of this journey. So much thinking, so much judgment, so much recovery time from all of the decisions you've made that were unloving for you. If you have created a world based on unloving ideas of separation and judgment and fear, and every person in your life is used to you doing that, then you've got a lot of momentum in that particular direction. And this practice that we have just suggested is the beginning of you slowing down the momentum of conflict and war in your life and in your mind and in your world. So we want all of you to watch the next conflict. We want all of you to say, yes, I'm going to go ahead with this if it's not dangerous, life-threatening, or injurious to you or anyone else. If someone tells you to rob a bank, walk the other way. Don't practice this principle with that suggestion. But if somebody says, I'd like to go to this restaurant, and you think, oh, I hate that restaurant, don't want to go there, say, okay, let's go. And first of all, you'll see shock on the other person's face, because they were probably ready for battle. You may even get a different response than you expect. They may say, on second thoughts, you know, I know you hate that restaurant. Let's go to this one. And you will see, because you didn't fight, a different future being created. And you may see, because you didn't fight, you didn't argue, you didn't insist on getting your way, you may see that you are often the causer of conflict in your world. You may see that the other person isn't always arguing, you are always arguing.